Started thinking about the next song. Sorry. Can we just start again?
Not the next song.
I just had a brainwave for the next song, but I'm like, no. Sorry. Can we start again, please? Lift up your face. Lift up your face. Salvation is calling. Salvation is calling. I've fallen so far now, you don't even know how. You are going to survive. Just above the horizon, new light is shining, breaking through the darkest night. God is coming, and it's coming so many. Your face, salvation is calling, salvation is calling. Your face, salvation is calling, salvation is calling your name. I'm falling so far now, you know that you're waiting for your moment to arrive. Tomorrow will bring the song that you can't say, and your hope is gonna rise. Love is coming, it's calling out your name. Your face, lift up your face. Salvation is calling, salvation is calling. Lift up your face, lift up your face. Salvation is calling, salvation is calling your name. Salvation is on its way.
We're going to go back to the very, very beginnings, actually pre the beginnings. I think for me, the One Faith Band was probably born about 9 years before we did our first gig. I remember when I first met Annette and her family, I was blown away by the incredible amount of musicians in the family. And I joined in with some worship at a little church in Wallsend, of which unfortunately there's very few photographs. I think I've got one or two of those really, really early days when I could probably barely play three chords. Some people say that I can barely play three chords now.
No.
But I had a dream then that we've really got to harness this family somehow. You know, everyone was off doing their own thing, and you know, I could see an incredible opportunity to bring a family together and actually do some good work. Now, I really wasn't sure at that stage what form that would take, but it was always in the back of my mind. And I think it started out when we were at our local church. And you and I got asked to do a couple of songs, and I think that was about 2013, I think. And that's when it really sort of kicked into me that we should be doing something. And we used to go over to Judy and Tony's house on a Saturday night and just hang out and play and jam. And again, I thought there has to be something more to this than we're doing now. There's got to be something we can do. I also realised at the time that really performing in pubs and doing top 40 covers wasn't anything that I was sort of remotely interested in doing, and I don't think Judy and Tony were either. So it had to be something for God. It had to be something that gave us a purpose, because otherwise it's just a group of musicians playing. And that's when I guess God tapped me on the shoulder and said, really need to be doing something for the homeless.
We remember that we got together, and after the church from Wallsend, we did a fair bit of work there, and obviously we, after we stepped down, we sort of got together and did some work. And of course you come with the idea that why don't we do some follow-up ministry, which is of course that's what we're doing now. And we picked up a few songs, we practiced a few songs in the lounge room, and eventually one after the other sort of accumulate to a set that we're doing these days.
It was sort of how the whole idea and One Faith came about, because at the time we were all at different churches, and I thought, well, you know what, we are many denominations, but we're the One Faith. And I thought this was also not only a way to harness a family together, but a way to harness different denominations together to focus on working for those that need it most and doing God's work. And that for me was how it started. And then of course along came Light of the World project, and that was a really incredible story.
And glory to the light of the world. Glory to the light of the world.
Light of the World was what started our whole band thing going, and really that was the binding glue that brought us all together. We had Judy and Tony and Annette, and we needed a drummer at the time, and fortunately both Tony and I, but I think more Tony, knew our good friend Steve Forrest, who was a really accomplished drummer in his day, and Steve saw what we were trying to do and jumped on board with us. So at that stage we were 5 musicians, and we got together and we chose a song, and that song was Light of the World. Now there's a little bit of a story behind that song. When we're choosing a song, I wanted a song that wasn't a big hit. I didn't want a song that was really, really well known, and at that stage I hadn't done any writing for many years, so I didn't feel comfortable trying to write a song that was frankly any good. So we chose Light of the World by a then unknown artist by the name of Lauren Daigle, and of course she's shortly after that song broke, within the next 12 months she became an absolute worldwide phenomenal hit. So and you can see that coming. I mean, the song is absolutely beautiful. So we got together as our 5 little musicians, and I remember I think we rehearsed for something like 6 weeks on one song, getting it just as good as we could possibly get it, and we would spend hours just going over and over and over that song until we were ready to record. And that's when we decided we're going to try and link more family, and we brought in people like Auntie Barbara, who was a really accomplished violinist, Annette's stepsisters Eva and Zoe, who were really good singers in their own right, and it seemed that, and then there was Ben as well, and like everybody just jumped on board because they wanted to be part of it, and that kind of blew me away a little bit. So on the day at the studio, I think there was about 7 or 8 of us that were all contributing for this song, and the idea behind it was that we would release this CD, but in exchange for food. I got the royalties for the song extremely cheaply on the proviso that there was to be no money made out of it. It was just purely and simply to do it for a charity. So we decided we'd bypass money altogether, and I think that's what really, that gelled with people. in this day and age, people get really suspicious about when you're standing outside Coles and, you know, give us $30 for heart disease or cancer or whatever. And a lot of people know that out of that money, there's probably only a third of it actually goes to the people that it's intended to go to, and the rest go on admin. Well, unless Annette and I were going to have a cupboard full of food for the next 10 years, any food that was raised, well, it would be food, it wasn't money, and then we would give that to our local church at the time to distribute to the poor and needy. And that was the idea, and I had then in my mind that we might sell a few CDs and, you know, raise a couple of hundred cans of food. And I thought, well, that'll be it over and done, and then we'll find another project to do. Well, 2,500 cans later, that CD just did phenomenally well for us. And then one of the local schools got involved, and that was another 1,000 cans. And I think all in all, that CD raised 3,500 cans of food with one CD over a period of about 2 or 3 months. Like, it just kept coming in and coming in.
Yeah.
I thought, wow, this is just phenomenal. So to this day, is it the best thing we've ever done? Not by a long shot, but it will always have a really soft place in my heart as being the song that started this whole crazy ball rolling. And that was back in around about August 2014. I've got something really interesting for you here. For those that are watching this DVD, you would have seen on YouTube, you will see the authorised film clip that we did at Nora Head Lighthouse. We originally did another studio version of the film clip, and it's very, very rarely seen. So here's where I get to introduce our original, very first song, Lauren Daigle's Light of the World, the studio clip.
The world waits for a miracle. The heart longs for a little bit of hope. Oh come, Emmanuel. A child prays for peace on earth, and she's calling out from a sea of hurt. Oh come, Emmanuel. And can you hear the angels singing? Glory to the light of the world, and glory to heart longs for a little bit of hope. Oh come, Emmanuel.
We've spoken previously about Light of the World, which was fun. I always have photographs and memories trying to set up a keyboard on a round step that was going horizontally upwards.
Yes, that was fun.
Yeah, and pretending to play when there was no power.
And Jesus telling me what to do over the
Oh yes, yes. Will the bloopers make it to this one? Nah, it was good. I don't know about you, but I remember it was stinking hot.
Oh yes, all the girls were sunburnt from that, standing out in the sun. And that was a terrible day. Oh, but it was so exciting anyway. You know, like that. It was the most beautiful scenery. Couldn't have picked a better spot.
Yeah.
Exactly, looking at the top of the Nora Head Lighthouse over the beautiful beach. It was just glorious, and it was so perfect for Light of the World, the song.
Yeah, yeah, it really was. One of the funny things, I look back on it, and when we were all down on the mezzanine playing, there was quite a wind blowing, and all you can see with you is his hands on the keyboard and this blonde hair.
Yes, I do remember that. Yeah.
It was good.
Yeah, the Light of the World has been at the beginning of everything, hasn't it? And the beautiful area that you chose on top of the actual tower, that's a great song on there. And we did a fairly good job out of it, I must admit.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it's, we got all the rest of the family joining as well. Our friend Steve was involved as well, playing drums for us. And then all the girls in the family. It was a family affair, I thought.
It really brought 2 or 3 families together, didn't it? You know, it was great.
And of course, they're no longer with us doing the thing, but they can look back, you know, one day and say, we've done that, you know, it's a small beginning.
Do you remember the wedding?
The wedding.
On the One Faith Band on Light of the World?
Oh, absolutely, yeah, that's right. They contribute to our...
Tempers?
contribute to us sort of have patience with it. And dismantle everything, and then mount it up again, you know, set it up again, whatever you. That was good. It's another thing you never forget.
No,
I
I have great memories of that. In fact, on the DVD that this is going on, I have some as yet unreleased photographs of a Mr. Ruggieri with a bass guitar up the side of the lighthouse, looking very GQ, I've got to say. So, yes. Flash up the photo now.
What about your brother, Bing Jesus?
Oh,
You know, great drummer, by the way.
my brother Pete, who's a self-confessed atheist, playing the part of Jesus. Yeah, that was.
And a great drummer too.
Yes.
Yeah.
My earliest memory of One Faith would be standing up in the lighthouse with 2 beautiful girls wearing white flowing dresses and singing Light of the World.
Hey.
That is my very first memory of One Faith. It's
Right.
the song Light of the World. And it was just amazing because we were all up in the lighthouse and we're just doing our movie. It was fun. It was really fun. And everybody got involved and everybody loved it.
I love the
Except Eva, who drank a bit too much the night before and was pretty much leaning over the balcony.
Brendan, are you ready to say your line?
Okay, shot 3A, take 2, and action.
Please find Penny and don't try to get
But all around me, everybody's multiplying and they're walking around.
Shit, mate. Haven't I seen you around here before?
Yeah, mate, sitting around here lately.
Yeah, no,
Back we go.
I learned
And action! The Inquisition, it's the one! Oh, it's... Yeah, that's it, just a nice gentle wave. And it's about your jeans, buddy. Can you roll them up? Honestly, he really isn't the Messiah. I'm just a naughty little boy. He looked like an Arab pervert.
forwarding through to the new show is back then, even then, we were singing Road to Hell in the
Were we?
lounge room at Judy
Yeah,
and
yeah,
Tony's.
that's right. Yeah.
Just on a Saturday night,
Yeah.
practicing it,
Just
and it's always been
random,
there, that
yeah.
song. So
Yeah.
yeah, that's been pretty cool.
But as you were just saying about Road to Hell, which is what we do now, but Road to Hell we were just mucking around with at Mum and Tony's house, which ended up also becoming on our set list.
Road to Hell. I remember you introducing that to me. Must be 4 years ago now, and it always was burning in the back of my mind. How the heck, or how the hell, can I get Road to Hell into a church gig? Because I love that song, but you knew that way before me. Had you played it before, or
No, I listened to it. I love Chris Rea. I listened to his stuff, and this sort of rhythm, this sort of feel, felt good. There was like me, that sort of style of music I like to sort of get into, and I think once that we played together, we almost did it straight away. Really, we fit well, and we left it at that. We play every time we get together. We used to play and stuff like that. You come up with the idea to say, how can we put it through into the
Into the set.
use in the set, use them some secular songs, but fit it in with what we're doing, and of course we got it done. I was always be dubious about it because obviously hell and stuff like that, but then there is a good side. I mean, we acknowledge the hell is there, we also acknowledge the grace of God overcoming, and I think that in itself made it a bit easier. And when we got to the band together, it just fit in all right. So I thought, well, let the people see what it is, and we get some feedback from them.
I must admit, I think we all held our collective breath on the first time that we did that song in front of an audience. I know I did, but it's done, as you said, it's done in such a way that salvation is there if you want it, but if you want to bat for the other side, this is what you can expect. And as you just said, you've got to acknowledge that there is that other side.
It is the other side.
Life is a choice, and I think we've made it fit really, really well. Love you playing on it. As I said, I think, and that driving drum beat, I've got to say, Brian's done a great job on that as far as that real driving rock drum beat on it, and then what you come up with, because you don't play slide guitar, and of course that's a lot of that slide guitar on the original. So yeah.
And of course, Judy puts a little touch in there as well
with
the keyboard.
The keyboard riff is such an important part of that.
That fits well together.
Yeah, we've got all the ingredients there.
Yeah. And I guess once the song is finished, you introduce the next song, and you just introduce, say, well, this is this side. No, this is this side.
Now it's our turn.
Yeah, true.
Favourite song in the band?
Have to be Road to Hell, part 1 and 2, I think. That's the one I enjoy playing the most, and I think most of us enjoy playing that the best, because it's a real hard driving rock song, isn't it?
Yeah, it's Chris Rea. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Favourite song? What do you really love to do in the set in the band?
I love doing Road to Hell.
Yeah.
And I remember when we first talked on the phone before I even tried out, and you mentioned Road to Hell, and the title jumped out at me straight away. I said, "Oh yeah, I like the title." And now we're going to perform Road to Hell, and don't be scared. Okay, we're not actually going to take you there. We're going to actually let you know what it would be like if you do go there, and why to avoid it altogether. Here we go, Road to Hell.
Stood still on a highway, I saw a man by the side of the road, with a face that I knew like my own, reflected in my window. Well, he walked up to my car lights, and he bent said, son, what are you doing here? My fear for you has brought me to this place. I said, Father, I've come to the valley of the rich, myself to sell. He said, son, this is the road to hell. On your journey through the wilderness, from the desert to the well, you have strayed upon the motorway to hell. This ain't no technological breakdown. Oh no. This is the road to hell.
There you go. That's probably going back around about 3 years, I suppose, 2.5, 3 years ago now. I remember just going through Facebook. I had a lot of people that I was talking to on Facebook at the time, and remember seeing your comments and everything at the time on One Faith Music, and I remember thinking, wow, what a wonderful cause that is. Wouldn't mind talking to this fellow at some stage, and as a little bit of time went by, I noticed on more and more comments. I liked your page, and I started to talking to you, and as a little bit of time went by, I started to converse with you, and I thought, wow, what a wonderful cause this is. It's such a selfless cause. And then I thought, well, I wouldn't mind going down and having a chat with this fellow one day, and one day I might even get to be able to just to play a bit of music with you. And as it happened, God intervened, I guess, and it seemed that I was going to come down and ask if I could play, and I remember sitting on the back porch of my house at Dora Creek, and I was going to call you and ask if I could come down and play, and the phone rang in my hand, and it was you asking me to come down and wondering whether I could come down for a trial because your rhythm guitarist could no longer play because he had obligations with his church, and you were looking for someone that may be able to fill a vacancy. Yeah.
But not only did God intervene, but where we first met, of course, David Willisdorf intervened.
David Willisdorf intervened as well. Yeah, what a wonderful, wonderful bloke. I am so honoured to have been able to play alongside David and proud to call David friend. What a wonderful man, such a humble man who does amazing work for God. I know that he's affected the way that I look at myself personally, to see what a talent that man has, and the way that he looks at life and the way that he views himself has made me think about life itself, as has a number of people, yourself included. And when I look at that, I also think of people like Paul Yanaselli as well. There's people like Tony and Judy as well. You know, that's one of the things I love about our group. It's just having a group of people that come together from so many different backgrounds and coming together for the one cause, and not beating any drums for any purposes other than for the one cause. It's just so remarkable, and that's what I always thought that God would want. It's what Jesus would want. It's not about who's better than this, that and the other, but this is what Jesus would want. And I love that. That's what really drew me to One Faith in the first place, the fact that we had so many denominations playing for one cause.
That's exactly right. That's why it's called One Faith.
One Faith.
And when you think about it, you know, we've had many different denominations, including an Anglican priest and a Catholic priest come and play with us because they all get it.
Yeah.
They all get it, and it's something that certainly grew a lot bigger than I would ever have envisaged it growing, and it's continuing to grow.
Absolutely, and you're right, and it does grow into different. It's grown into something different right along the journey. And how wonderful was it to have Stephen Mwamba
on one day?
Yeah, one day. What a wonderful chap.
Yeah.
Who would have thought that our group would have had an African Catholic priest singing with us?
Yeah.
What a wonderful voice.
And playing those bongos and congas.
Oh, how good was it? Yeah. But that's part of the journey, isn't it? And I'm really looking forward to seeing where this journey takes us to, and whatever part of that journey is that God takes us is where it goes.
I think the only thing, I think One Faith will continue along as long as people have in their hearts to help those that are less fortunate than themselves.
And there is the journey.
And as long as people have that in their hearts, God willing, there will always be a place for a One Faith band. Steve, it's been an honour. It's been an absolute honour to play with you. In fact, you know, as most people know, we started out as a family, and people have come and gone and given their commitment for a time and then moved on, which is as it should be. But man, you've been a stayer, and you know, you are family. I mean, the whole band is family, but honestly, you are.
And I'm touched and I'm honoured to say that. Thank you. I really do feel that way. I've been made to feel that way, and I'm truly honoured. I intend to be a stayer and to stay around as long as I'm welcome to be there, for sure. Thank you very much.
Tonight that we introduce some of our band members tonight. Over there on bass guitar, Mr. Alfred Belante. My beautiful wife, the gorgeous Miss Nettie T, over there on vocals and tambourine. Rockin' Rogeri himself, Mr. Tony Rogeri. Rhythm Rolf over there, Stephen Rolf. My beautiful mother-in-law over there, Miss Judith Rogeri. And of course, I left the best till last, the master himself. The man on drums, Mr. Brian Eltham! Folks, it is quite easy to get sidetracked onto the road to hell. And if you are, there's a really easy answer. Take the first exit. As Dallas was saying before, it's the narrow road. But I promise you, if you take that 1% of effort and take that chance, I promise you, Jesus will be waiting there at the other end with open arms for you. So please, if you're struggling, for whatever reason, consider it and talk to someone. This is a song called River. This is a song all about grace and forgiveness. You can come back.
Traveling these wide roads for so long, my heart's been far from you. 10,000 miles gone. Oh, I wanna come here and give you every part of me. But there's blood on my hands and my lips are unclean. In my darkness, I remember Mama's words reoccur to me. Surrender to the good Lord and He'll wipe your slave home. Take me to your river, I wanna go. Oh, 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 oh. Take me to your river, I dip me in your smooth water. I go in as a man with many crimes. I come up prayer as my sins flow down the Jordan. Oh, I wanna come in and give you every part of me. But there's blood on my hands and my lips are unclean. Take me to your river, I wanna go. Oh, 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 oh. Take me to your river, I wanna know.
So after Light of the World, it became what's next.
Yeah.
So we had an offer to put together a show for our local church. So, and of course, when someone asks you if you'd like to do a show and do a concert, of course the answer is always yes. And then 5 minutes after that, it's like, we don't have any gear. How are we going to do this? How's this going to work? And I just remember that first concert where we had a wonderful support act by the name of Sandy Louise who loved what we did and wanted to be part of it. But equipment-wise, I think we had 3 little cube speakers, 2 microphones and an old piano, and that was it. Like we really just did not have enough gear. And I remember borrowing our churches and another church's mixing desks and our little 4 and 6 channel ones and putting them together, and it was so ropey, but there was so much heart and soul in it. And I think we had about 120 people turn up to that and absolutely loved it. And that was another 13 to 1400 cans of food, because we charged, of course, 7 cans of food to get in. And then it was, well, what's next? And you know, God was definitely saying to us, this is going to be your continuing work you're going to do for me. So then we had to think about where we were going to go and what we're going to do. What cropped up on my horizon straight after that was a wonderful band from America by the name of Need to Breathe that I just discovered, and they just released an album called Wasteland. And they'd had a massive hit on Christian radio with their song Multiplied, which was very American bluesy. We just loved it. And I remember listening to Annette's voice and thinking, a ballad version of this, a really soft ballad version of this would be so nice. I was a little bit hesitant about wanting to do it from the point of view that it was already a very known and established song. But I thought, well, we'll just do it differently. And again, at this stage, I'd only taken my very first faltering steps at starting to write, and it really wasn't very good. And so we did need, at this stage, we really needed covers. And I thought, well, this time if we do a popular cover, that might just boost our profile a little bit. I had absolutely no budget for a second single, and that's where our church stepped in and said, you know what, find a studio and we'll pay for it as long as it's within reason. Well, that's when I was blessed to walk into a studio in Wyong, and it was really a case of our drummer, Steve, had recommended a guy, didn't know him from a bar of soap, but apparently he was okay. And we walked into Paul Yarnitzelli's studio, later to be called Music Pro. I had no idea Paul's background and who he was. So I went in there bold as brass in my head with a figure of probably $700 or $800 to go and do a new CD. And I remember Paul saying to me, yep, he said, look, normally when the record companies use me, it's about $2,500 a day. And I remember at that stage saying, well, it's been lovely to meet you, Paul, and I can see your studio's absolutely magnificent, but yeah, it just isn't going to happen for us. And then Paul said, tell me more about why you're doing this and what you're doing. And so I sat down and went through exactly why we were doing what we're doing, what our relationship with God was. I remember Paul asking Annette, you know, what's your relationship with Jesus? And I think he was really just trying to get to know us to see if we were genuine. Anyway, he said to me that he would actually drop his price down to just dry rates for studio hire for the day. And that blew me away. Now, it was still going to cost about $2,500, I think, but the fact that he'd made that big a drop made me go, we'll find the money somehow.
Well, I was thinking about this actually, when you like to come and have a chat and an interview, and I thought I couldn't actually pinpoint the start point of our friendship, and that's what it's been, friendship. And friendship is deeper than a working relationship. But I do remember whenever it happened, and you've got better recollection than myself, I do remember that it was like these people are doing something and trying to make a difference on this planet with what they got. Now what have I got? What could I do? So I thought about that and I thought, well, this is what they got, this is what I got, let's put it together and do what we can. And that's how the journey for me began. And we've since had great friendship, and I've enjoyed having you here for lunch today, and it's been one of the most spectacular times with your children, your family, and those things are important to me. And what we're doing for the homeless. I mean, I found a homeless pillow and blanket on the doorstep of the studio. This only happened last week.
Right.
What do you do with that? Do you just say, oh well, everyone was like, oh, get rid of him, get rid of him, get rid of a guy. To me, it's like kicking a guy who's already down. That hurt me, it really hurt me. I've been down a number of times, and when people try and put the boot in, all I can say is not stop, but why?
Yeah.
Why? And so, what you're doing it with what you got because of why. You're answering the question of why. Now, a lot of other people out there have got a lot of things to offer. You've got businesses, you've got money, you've got resources, you've got help, you've got creative gifts, and all I say to you is why? Why have them if you can't give them? So we met, and you took me on a journey to think about this in an area which I hadn't thought about, that there would be so many homeless. And it's not that, and homeless, let me tell you from personal experience, homelessness is not where you are without a home. It's a state of mind, a state of heart. But no one believes in you enough to put a roof over your head.
Yeah.
Now, I can make great music, and I don't say that arrogantly. I say that from what other people told me, but because it's been a gift I've enjoyed all my life. But if that can help someone put a roof over their head,
why wouldn't you?
Then why wouldn't you? You're back to the question, why?
Yeah.
Why? Why not?
Because it was the very beginning of a very special relationship with Paul that is endured to this day. He's got me back into writing again, and we're writing some really good stuff. He's taught me music production, he's taught me recording. He's actually been so unselfish in what he's done to get me to a level where I'm almost self-sufficient, and for that our band will be forever grateful. He really is the extra member of our band, and I've had the privilege of performing and sharing a stage with Paul, and he's just an amazing guy. So here is our second single. This is the One Faith Band, Multiplied.
Your love is like radiant diamonds bursting inside us, we cannot contain. Your love will surely come find us like blazing wildfires, singing your name, God of mercy, sweet love of mine. I have surrendered to your design. your love will surely come find us like blazing wildfires, singing your name. God of mercy, sweet love of mine, I have surrendered to your design. May this offering stretch across the sky. These hallelujahs be multiplied. God of mercy, sweet love of mine, I have surrendered to your design. May this offering stretch across the skies. These hallelujahs be multiplied. These hallelujahs be multiplied.
Multiplied, I remember doing the recording because I was extremely nervous and shy, and I remember Paul setting me up with a microphone that was like a microphone but with a big round mesh,
The Rhodes.
sort of like, yes, close like that, and he turned me around so that I wasn't looking at anybody, or so I turned around, so it was very private, and you know, that was fun. It was really good. I felt so privileged to be able to sing a song and be recorded.
So, tell me about your memories of Multiplied.
Well, Multiplied consisted of 4 of us, so it was a quartet. I was vocals. My Auntie Barbara was on violin, which she did about 10 tracks, so she laid 10 tracks down. There was Steve Forrest, who was on snare, drum and bass, and Andy on guitar.
I know that we were particularly ropey in the beginning, and I've never met anybody, and I just want to go on the record saying this, that was so kind and caring and looked after the dignity of musicians for whatever their ability level. And I remember Annette, myself, Steve, and Barbara going away, and we were at all different levels there, and I was probably at the lowest of the low levels, and you know, people like Barbara were pretty darn good. The way you treated people, I just want to say, was absolutely wonderful. But I do remember I had terrible trouble with a particular chord change, just trying to get it right, and you just, you know, we're just going to play through it. Just do that chord, then you get a chord. And I was sitting there, I think I probably paid you for about a day's worth of mixing, and I think you spent 3 weeks on it. I'm going on camera to say, I'm really sorry about that.
I think it's a great joy and privilege and reward to help people shine. And one of the tricks I've learned about helping people shine is just to hide the shadows. So it's not so hard actually, because we all have shadows. Everyone. It doesn't matter who I've been with or who I've, you know, musically done this, done that. Doesn't make any difference. I've still got my weaknesses. I'm very aware of my weaknesses. I don't. And so have you, and so has everyone else. What you going to do? You're going to sit there and say, oh, he's got a weakness, she's got a weakness. What's that going to do for the world? If you can hide the shadows and bring forth the light, and if you're smart enough, and this is where my educational psychology training has helped me, it's to help people give a behind-the-scenes plan to work on their weaknesses. Now that, for me, is great fun, because it's got to be behind the scenes. You can't work on your shadows in the light. You've got to, when no one's looking in the closet at home. But here's how you can get it a little bit better, a little bit better, a little bit better. And people have done that for me all my life. I worked with some great people. You know why? I was so encouraged. I was working with Shaka Khan's music director, Howard McCrary. He could do a whole 13th chord with one hand. And my hand wouldn't even reach that. Like, how do you even physically do that? And he's going, yeah, but you can do that. You can do it. I thought, who am I? You were Shaka Khan. You've done this stuff. Who am I? I'm a little nobody at that time. I certainly was, and I still probably am. Doesn't make a difference. I've got certain things that I can do well, and I hope I bring those to the table.
Okay, are you in the army of God? You know you're in the army of God? If you want to win the war, you've got to know you're in the army. It's like Joshua marked around the walls of Jericho. We're using our hands instead of our feet tonight. Moving into territory, come to possess the land. realised there was now no turning back.
No turning back. What a wonderful memory I'm going to have of writing that song. It's the first song that I'd written since doing my music diploma and doing some songwriting study with Paul, so I was really feeling like I was getting a grasp back on songwriting again. And it was meant to be a simple country rock song about when you're walking the path of the Lord. You get a certain way along that path and you look at all the things that went on in your life before you hit this road, and you turn around and you look over your shoulder and you go, there is no way I could ever go back to that. And you look at the road ahead and see what a beautiful road that is that you're traveling, and you just want to stay on it until you draw your last breath. That's what this song to me is about, and I'll think of this song and love this song till the day I die.
Get your sunset all the way. My dark nights, unsettled days. No more fear of stormy places. When I walk with you, my heart races. No going back, no turning around. I walk down the narrow road. No going back, no turning around. No, I stumble with my pride. I'll get back up, I'll always try. 'Cause you walking by my side. No going back, no turning around. No going back, no turning around. No, I have walked down your narrow road. No going back, no turning around. No, I stumble with my pride. I get back up, I'll always try. 'Cause you're walking by my side. No going back, no turning around. No going back, no turning around. I'm stuck down your narrow road. No going back, no turning around. No, I stumble with my pride. Get back up, I'll always try. 'Cause you're walking by my side. No going back, no turning around. No turning around. No turning around.
I was out of my mind when I found what your love brings. I was seeing you outside, all of the little things. You were in everything. I was was out of control, my friend, outside your heart. When you opened up my eyes, showed me everything was new again. You were amazing. You totally nailed it. You were incredible. From January to December, I will remember you. I'll remember you. I was going insane with all of my mortal pain. This ocean was set to boil when you poured out your love like oil. Shook me to the core, threw me to the floor. How do you do it? Only heaven knows. It's joy that keeps me wanting more and more. 'Cause you were amazing, and I will remember. You were incredible. From the cradle to the cross, I will remember you. I'll remember you. You were spirit divine. You were water into wine. You could calm the raging seas. But most of all, you still find time to care for me.
So here Annette and I are with the wonderful Lois Terrans, who's making one of her rare on-camera, on-screen appearances.
Very, very rare.
Lois, we've really been blessed as a band by our first original song, co-written by yourself. And I wanted to have this opportunity to ask you about the song Faultless. Obviously Annette does the lead vocal in it. You wrote the lyric, and she does it beautifully. I was quite inspired by your lyric to write the tune that happened, and it was something that's very natural and flowing, which we'll talk about later. But yeah, just wanted to get together with you and have a chat. Yeah.
Okay, well, first of all, Lois, I'm wondering what the inspiration was for you to write this song.
Okay, I did start to write the song when my sister passed away in 2010, but I couldn't finish it. So basically I shelved it, and then year before last, I think it was year before last year, my cousin who is between my sister and me in age, she passed away. She'd spent 12 months battling cancer. She'd had all the treatment, everything was looking great, but she kind of had an inferior complex because her hair wasn't right, and I woke up one morning to see this thing on Facebook to say that she passed away in the middle of the night. She'd gone to bed, didn't wake up, which basically just hit me, and 10 minutes later I had the rest of the song.
Yeah.
Wow.
I just wrote it down.
Isn't
because
that amazing?
she was a beautiful person. She's got beautiful kids, got beautiful grandkids. She lost her mum, my aunt, to cancer about 15 years ago, and lost her dad probably about 10 years ago through something else. So yeah, that's where it came from.
It's a beautiful song, and it's a credit to you lyrically. I don't often write music to other people's lyrics because it has to be something that really engages me, and you're the first person I've come across that when you write a lyric, the melody's already there in the lyric. When I'm writing songs like Bottle of Bible and Me, even just the way you speak the line is how the melody seems to flow. And it's not always the case with writers. And one of the things I loved when you gave me those lyrics, obviously from an emotional level, I was quite blown away by it. It's actually quite profound.
Thank you.
But from a melody point of view, just by saying the words, and it really was, if you keep running, how am I ever going to catch you? And that, what a magnificent opening line, but it actually has its own lilt. So that became, if you keep running, how am I ever going to catch you? If you keep running, how am I going to catch you? And it really came down to, okay, so that's a C, that's an F. Right, that's where we're going to start from. And
I'm glad I made it easy for you.
You did. I think you and I are credited with joint music and lyrics, but if I'm really going to be absolutely brutally truthful, I think it should be about 75% you, because the melody is so in that song waiting to be unlocked. It was absolutely.
And I was actually just saying to Lois before how, while singing that song, the moment it starts, if you keep running, how will I ever catch you? From the moment that I sing that first line, the audience is captivated with those words and the melody, of course, that you both co-did together. And I just feel so honoured and privileged to be able to sing this beautiful song that has so much meaning. And,
thank you.
Thank you all. And
thank you very much.
You're welcome. And the audience, you can see they have their own reasons for connecting. Is the word
and that's the wonderful universal, when you get a song right, it's not about your journey. It's not about my journey, and it's not about your journey as a singer. It's about, if that song lets the person in the audience, they've got their own journey.
Exactly.
And I love writers when they write songs. River's one like that. It might mean one thing to the writer, but he's left it open enough. He hasn't closed it all up. He's left it open enough that everybody will interpret it, and that's the secret of a great song, I think. And I honestly have to say, I think you've written a great song there. So Lois, I'm going to ask you, if you wouldn't mind, one thing. Can you please do me a favour? I want you to stare down the barrel of that camera, and I'd love you to introduce Faultless.
Okay, ladies and gentlemen, this is Faultless.
Never be the truth.
think twice. It's just another day for you and me in paradise. Oh, think twice. It's just another day for you and me in paradise.
Another Day in Paradise. I love this song because it really tells people and makes people realise that they should be happy with what they've got. If you've got a roof over your head, you've got food in the fridge, you know, you've got enough money to pay the bills, you really are living in paradise. Because, and you shouldn't forget that, you should be very grateful to have those things, because homeless people basically are homeless. They don't have a secure place to be in. Security is so important in life, to have a place that you can go to, that you can feel secure in. And, you know, we really are living in paradise when we think about the homeless people that are doing it so tough out there, looking in garbage bins for food, you know, trying to grab newspapers or jump into a garbage bin to have some sort of bed. You know, we've got to think about these people that are doing it so rough, and you know, possibly being spat on or, you know, treated like garbage. And each day for them is probably another day, a tough day of getting up out of bed and being in hell, to be honest. It could be quite horrible. So that's why we've got to be grateful, think about what we've got, because I know I've pretty much been homeless before, and it's not a pretty sight, and it's not a really good way to be.
It's just another day for you in paradise. Just another day for you.
Those things are important to me, and what we're doing for the homeless. I mean, I found a homeless pillow and blanket on the doorstep of the studio. This only happened last week.
Right.
What do you do with that? Do you just say, oh well, everyone was like, oh, get rid of him, you know, get rid of a guy. To me, it's like kicking a guy who's already down. That hurt me, you know, it really hurt me. I've been down a number of times, and when people try and put the boot in, all I can say is not stop, but why.
Yeah.
Why? And so what you're doing with what you got because of why. You're answering the question of why. Now, a lot of other people out there have got a lot of things to offer. You've got businesses, you've got money, you've got resources, you've got help, you've got creative gifts, and all I say to you is why? Why have them if you can't give them? So we met, and you took me on a journey to think about this in an area which I hadn't thought about, you know, that there would be so many homeless. And it's not that, and homeless, let me tell you from personal experience, homelessness is not where you are without a home. It's a state of mind, a state of heart, that no one believes in you enough to put a roof over your head.
Yeah.
Now, I can make great music, and I don't say that arrogantly. I say that from what other people have told me, but because it's been a gift I've enjoyed in my life. But if that can help someone put a roof over their head,
why wouldn't you?
Then why wouldn't you? You're back to the question, why?
Yeah.
Why? Why not?
Yeah. Absolutely, absolutely. And that's why we do it. You know, we certainly don't profess to be the greatest musicians in the world. We don't profess to, you know, to be bigger and better than we are. But the reality is, somebody has to stand up, because as you and I have discussed previously so many times, how many paychecks are you away from homelessness yourself? And it gets really quite scary these days.
The way that the economies are set up these days in the third world, second world, first world, the first world is the scariest. The third world is the most real, the second world is a balance, the first world is the most deceptive. So many people are just a paycheck away from homelessness. And let me put that a different way. So many people are just a kick in the gut, a kick away from homelessness. It's not actually the paycheck. It's how much you are kicked before you can take no more. Then you are homeless.
That's a really unique way of putting that.
It's the way that it is. And I challenge anyone. I've in states of not having much of myself at times to deal with, of a lot of loss and grief to deal with in my own situation, yet I've given, not because I thought I would get something back. Now there's a lot of teaching about, oh, if you give, you'll be blessed. Give, you'll be blessed. Old covenant, you'll be blessed. Yeah. All right, fine. But what about just giving?
Yeah,
what's wrong with giving with nothing expected in return? Do you know how much that changes your sleep at night? How much it changes the way that you walk, the way that you live, the way that you look at people? Now, do I get this right every time? No, probably about 5%, if that. But when I get it right, I tell you, the difference it makes is night and day. And you have the opportunity to bring daylight to someone's homeless life because of whatever you have. What can you sew? Great. You need a jumper. Have you got a business? Great. Let's do a sale for the homeless. Have you got a gift? Great. Let's do a performance for that. Have you got, have you got time? Great. Give time to this. And it's not about how talented you are. The talented don't care. The talented wouldn't care if Michael Jackson, which he can't now, of course, but anyone came in and gave them a hamburger. All they can see is the hamburger.
That's right.
They don't care. What they care is about survival. And when you're in a position where you're in a corner and you're backed into a corner and people are kicking, and someone, it might be a lawyer, might be a car salesman, might be a shop attendant, might be a Coles worker, might be a home mum, it might be a father doing a tradie job, it might be a kid just with good parents and a kid with bad, doesn't matter who it is, they give you the hamburger, you've changed their life.
That's right.
So if you can do a concert and raise 7 cans of food for someone who doesn't have a roof over their head, then we're back to our first question. Why not?
It's just another day for you and me in paradise.
Just think about it.
Everybody's got a story to tell, and everybody's got a wound to be healed. I wanna believe there's beauty here. And oh, I get so tired of holding on. I can't let go, I can't move on. I wanna believe there's meaning here. How many times have you heard me cry out, God, please take this? How many times have you given me strength to just keep breathing? Oh, I feel you, God, I feel you now. Standing on a road I didn't plan, and wondering how I got to where I am. I'm trying to hear that still small voice. I'm trying to hear above the noise. How many times have you heard me cry out, God, please take this? How many times have you given me strength to just keep breathing? Oh, I feel you, God, I feel you now.
Need You Now. Your studio experience with Paul there, with the vocal coaching side of things. I mean, that was a pretty big song for you to cover, and you did. I've got to say, you did an amazing job with it. Was it difficult to get there? Was it hard work, or was it fun?
It was, because it's been many, many years since I had sung. So there was a big, huge gap in my life from singing, being at the peak, and then not singing, and then actually just starting again. So my voice wasn't really up there at the time, and it was difficult to do that song because it was picking a peak song at a very unpeak time in my life. So yeah, it was difficult, but it was a challenge, and I loved the words, I loved the song. It just grabbed me straight off. So then it was just trying to do it. And yeah, Paul was very helpful in that he came up with some ideas for like those high notes at the end, you know, directing little things that would help make you reach that without trying to struggle and strangle it, you know. So things like looking down and aiming the voice there and thinking about that, and yeah, that was very helpful.
Yeah. And of course, at that stage, we had our guest rhythm guitarist Tim Waghorn.
Yes.
Yeah.
That was good because he added the rhythm to which sort of solidified the whole thing and brought it all together. So that was really good too.
And of course, and again, as Tony was saying, Adam on drums. He did a brilliant effort on that, I thought.
Yes, Adam he's a superb drummer. So it was very fortunate for us to have him.
So Need You Now. What's your memories of that?
Look, I thought these guys have got their own song in them.
It was close,
but it wasn't ready.
Yeah.
And so I thought, Need You Now, okay, we've got the song. Now, and then the next thing I thought is they're trying to replicate what they've heard for this song. But what I hear is who they are. So how do I bring them around to a paradigm shift of understanding that what they've heard, they don't want to replicate what they've heard. They want to produce who they are. And that's me as a producer. That was my role. So it was a journey where I'm thinking behind the scenes, what's going through their head, what's going through my head, what's going through their ears, what's going through my ears. How do we create this? How do we blend this? How do we make this into something special? Because of the cause that we're all doing this for.
Yeah, absolutely. I want to say that, you know, we never lost sight of the cause, but a little bit of background why we chose that song was we had a little bit of limited local radio success with Light of the World. Multiply was probably never intended to be a radio commercial version of a song. It didn't get lots of airplay, got a little bit, not lots, but I at that stage desperately needed to try and find a sound that would appeal. It was a broad, commercial, appealing song that we chose. We weren't quite ready to write our own yet. We were close, and I think we're just beginning to germinate some ideas, which we'll come to that a little bit later. I want to talk about that with you. So I know that at times there's probably a little bit of tension between us because I had a very definite goal, and I could see you just sort of shifting it away a little bit. And as a producer, I totally respected what you wanted to do, but also needed what I thought. And I say I thought I needed. Back to you.
Yeah, I mean, you wanted a particular sound too that wasn't necessarily, and I'll be frank with you, it wasn't necessarily yours, what you had in mind.
No.
And that's okay, that's all right, we can deal with that, but eventually you're going to sound best when you speak in your own language. I knew that, but it has to be a journey. And I know we're all on a journey, and it's all a progression. And I thought if I can just plant enough seeds in this particular journey, then what comes afterward will unfold into what can be done. But I'm not into forcing people doing what they want to do. You know, you had in mind what you want to do. That's fine. But yes, but think about this. That was the thing that I was doing for that particular report.
I think a big part of our our sound has also come inadvertently and overtly from Paul Yanizelli. I know, he's taught me a lot about songwriting.
Yes, been good.
And a sense of timing. I treasure those days we had in his studio for Need You Now.
Yeah, that's right. That was really an experience for me too, because I'd done very little recording in the past, and to be put in the studio to be careful what you're doing, not overdoing and stuff like that, and it's been a good experience. And my son as well was with us too, so that made it even more special.
If a picture paints 1,000 words, then why can't I paint you? The words will never show the you I've come to know. If a face could launch 1,000 ships, then where am I to go? There's no one home but you. You're all that's left me to. And when my love for life is running dry, you come and pour yourself on me. If a man could be two places at one time, I'd be with you tomorrow and today, beside you all the way. If the world should stop with all things spinning slowly down to die, I'd spend the end with you. And when the world was through, then one by one the stars would all go out. Then you and I would simply fly away.
song's very dear to me, this one. We're gonna change things around a little bit for these. Oh, come out off the step, I'm on my tippy toes. This song, one of the things with homelessness, there's many, many, many reasons why people become homeless. And I can probably say to you that out of 4,500 people on the Greater Central Coast area, there's probably 4,500 different reasons, but there are some key factors. And one of those factors is addiction. This song, I have a really good friend of mine who is a recovering alcoholic, and we had many, many conversations. Now this song, whilst it's about alcohol addiction, it could be about any addiction, because let's face it, anything that you're addicted to is destructive, right? With his battle with alcohol addiction, before he came to Christ, there are people that come up to it, and there's nothing worse when you're facing a battle. And folks, make no mistake, it's a war and it's a battle. And someone comes and says, don't worry, it's all going to be okay. Jesus will save you. And what you want to do is take 5 friends here and whack. Because it is a real war, and I think some people don't understand. So this is a song about that. This is called The Bottle, the Bible, and Me.
This night thunders in, darkness is close to me, addiction stretches before me. Darkness so close now, the stars seem so bright. Please God come rescue me. Got a bottle on the table and a book with Bible written on the label. One's lying, one's trying, and somewhere in the middle is me. Somewhere in the middle is me. I'm in my good place, this place is a good place, but I'm not the same man that I used to be. Trying to reach for you, Jesus, but this bottle, it teases. Please, Lord, I wanna be free. Got a bottle on the table and a book with Bible written on the label. One's lying, one's trying, and somewhere in the middle is me. Somewhere in the middle is me.
Okay, great readings. Right. Favourite band song?
It's got to be the one that you wrote, I think, at this stage. Great song.
Oh, thanks, man.
Awesome songwriter.
Thank you.
Yeah, that's an awesome song, that.
Yeah, we've got.
If I could stop drinking, just stop all this thinking. Please, Lord, I wanna be free. Lord, you know what's best for me, but I hesitate to leave. 'Cause I know how painful my best may turn out to be. I got a bottle on the table and a book with Bible written on the label. One's lying, one's trying, but somewhere in the middle is me. I got a bottle on the table and a book with Bible written on that label. One's lying, one's trying, and somewhere in the middle is me. Somewhere in the middle is me. Somewhere in the middle is me.
And what do you think I seen? I seen the band of angels. They're coming after me. 'Cause they go great.
It's probably no secret that I have an absolute love of anything with a bit of blues influence, and in particular I also love Southern gospel. So when I discovered Ain't No Grave, I was immediately drawn to it and really intrigued by this song. It was originally written by a guy called Brother Claude Eli and performed back in the early 1950s, and Brother Claude Eli was the very first Pentecostal minister to ever actually get a recording contract. it was a very up-tempo, upbeat version of that song. Some years ago, just before he passed away, Johnny Cash did a version, and due to his age, his voice was quite wavery, and it was quite a mournful sound, and it was quite beautiful the way that he did it. But it wasn't the way the original was intended to be, a song of celebration about being a Christian, knowing that where we're going to end up. And since the Johnny Cash version, there has been a lot of versions come out that are actually quite mournful and quite down and quite dark. So I saw this as a chance to actually bring back the old version of the original version of the song and really make it a song of celebration. So yeah, we rock it out a little bit, but it is actually more true to the original than some of the subsequent versions. It certainly probably would be an absolute crowd favourite with us, and I think it'll be one of those songs that will be in our set for as long as we're continuing to play as the One Faith Band. It means a lot because as Christians we know, despite all of our imperfections, where we're going to go through the grace of Jesus Christ. And that is an amazing comfort. It really is. Yeah, what more can I say?
Ain't no grave. What was your reply? Oh, my body down. Woo! That's right, come on. Ain't no grave gonna hold my body down. Come on, give me that. Put it in one finger. Ain't no grave gonna hold my body down. Now you're getting there. You're getting there. That's fair. Hang on. Listen, if you've got anything left in the tank, now's the time, alright? Ain't no grave! Ain't no grave! So we move my ain't no grave! Hold my body down. Sound, I'm gonna rise
we are at the end of 5 years of love, sweat and tears. What an amazing journey it has been to see this band grow from absolutely nothing to where we are now. We've had an absolute blast putting this together, and I really hope you've enjoyed some of the old photographs and footage. But what's more exciting is what's to come. We've got some big things happening over the next couple of years, and I just want to say thank you to all of the people who have supported us, donated, come to our concerts, but most importantly, who've given their food and their time and their talent to help make this whole concept work. God bless. We're going to leave you now with Spirit in the Sky, which is one of our absolute favourites that we love to do. And this particular clip is taken from last year's 2018 show, and it featured our special guest, the incredible Mr. Paul Yanizelli on keyboards. God bless. See you soon, and see you at the next gig.
Out of my mind when I found what your love brings. I was seeing you outside, all of the little things. You were in everything. I was out of control, my friend, outside your heart. When you opened up my eyes, showed me everything, oh, was new again. You were amazing. You totally nailed it. You were incredible. From January to December, I will remember you. I'll remember you. I was going insane with all of my mortal pain. This ocean was set to boil when you poured out your love like oil. Shook me to the core, threw me to the floor. How do you do it? Only heaven knows. It's joy that keeps me wanting more and more. 'Cause you were amazing, and I will remember. You were incredible. remember you. I'll remember you. You, a spirit divine. You, a water into wine. You could calm the raging seas, but most of all you still find time to care.